Primetime News is a Monday to Friday 20-minute news format bringing you unfiltered updates from within and beyond Namibian borders. Many thanks for tuning into the Thursday edition where we're coming to you from our Aeros Park studios in Windhoek. A pleasant evening to you. I'm Michael Madimba. Matters pertaining to food security lead tonight's bulletin. An Integrated Food Security Phase Classification IPC analysis report published on Wednesday indicated that a staggering 579,000 Namibians, or 22% of the population, are currently experiencing high levels of acute food insecurity as of the period between July and September 2023. Hence, the situation calls for immediate action to close food gaps and safeguard livelihoods. Now, 12 regions are categorized in IPC Phase 3, while just 2 regions, Irongo and Commerce, are in IPC Phase 2 and require action to protect their means of subsistence. More insights from this report.
According to an analysis report, Namibia's worsening food security can be primarily attributed to a combination of factors including climate and price shocks, economic decline and unemployment. The report also highlights that the situation is expected to deteriorate further during the initial projected period spanning from October 2023 to March 2024. During this phase, an estimated 695,000 individuals, equivalent to 26% of the population, are anticipated to fall into IPC Phase 3, categorizing the food insecurity as a crisis or potentially even worse. The report also indicates that due to government initiatives and potential employment opportunities, the Erongo and Hardap regions are projected to remain in IPC Phase 2, while the remaining regions are expected to remain in IPC Phase 3. There may be a slight improvement in the Hardap region due to anticipated drought relief efforts. However, the situation is anticipated to improve in the second projection period spanning from April to June 2024. During this phase, 491,000 people, or 19% of the population, are still expected to face severe food insecurity, primarily due to rising prices across the country. The IPC is a collaborative initiative which aims to provide decision makers with a comprehensive, evidence-based analysis of food insecurity and acute malnutrition situations. This analysis informs emergency responses as well as medium and long-term policies and programming decisions. Reporting for Primetime News, Diana Kauta.
Residents of Okakarara and surrounding communities have since Monday been flocking to the Ministry of Home Affairs Immigration, Safety and Security stand at the Okakarara annual trade fair to obtain new identity cards. Now, the Ministry's office in Okakarara does not process identity cards, but only offers services such as birth registration, notification of birth, late registration of birth, duplicates of missing birth certificates, identity cards, as well as issuance of passports. Our correspondent Shelva Wills is on the ground in Okakarara and filed this report.
The ministry wanted to bring the service to the people of Okakarara. Yes, there is an office here already, a sub-regional office, but most of the services that are offered at the regional offices and the head office, they are not in Okakarara, like capturing of ID cards, the new ID cards. So that's why we thought we'll bring the capturing of the ID, since there's a lot of people that need IDs in Okakarara actually. And okay, for new applicants, like those people, the kids that are 16 years old, they just need a birth certificate. Yeah, then they get captured the new ID. If it's lost, it's just a payment of 150. Yeah, then you apply for a duplicate. Those that want the new Namibian ID but they have their older version, yeah, they only need to declare that they want to change to the new ID, and when it's 20 years and more, they don't need to pay for it. Yeah, I would like to alert the residents of Okakarara that the Ministry of Home Affairs is here. They must make use of this opportunity that, like, we are here right now. They must come to the trade fair. They must come get their IDs. They must, if they have lost their birth certificates or IDs, they must come. The kids that are at home that don't have IDs, they must come get the IDs, because they know Okakarara, if we are gone, then it's a Shwarongo where they can only take IDs.
Moving on. Employees of the road contractor company earlier today staged a peaceful demonstration against unfair labor practices in the workplace. The employees are claiming they have not received any salary increment for 7 years and demand the chief executive officer vacate her position. Let's now listen to more of the employees' grievances in this insert.
The company has unilaterally reduced the employees' leave days to 12 without any negotiations with the union and the employees, thereby violating Section 23 of the Labour Act 2007, Act number 11. We demand that the company engages its employees through their union and must comply with relevant provisions of the Labour Act. Further, the company should pay out all outstanding leave days to the current and former employees who have been affected by these changes upon retirement or resignations, and that accrued leave days be reinstated.
I want to see you down. Down! You must actually just go.
Number 2, unfairness of contract employment for fixed term of employees. The company has various employees in its employment for periods of up to 10 years, where these employees are only given 6-month contracts, whilst the company has projects in excess of such duration. In comparison, the RCC Board of Directors have 3 years contract, whilst the workforce get a mere 6 months. This includes the youthful RCC bursary holders who are deprived of career growth.
On to some Continental updates. On Wednesday, leader of the coup that deposed the Gabonese president Sept Ali Bongo is free to leave the country and travel overseas. More context from this report.
General Brice Oligui Nguema said in a statement read on state television he has freedom of movement and can travel abroad if he wishes. Bongo, in power for 14 years, had been under house arrest since the military coup of August 30, carried out without bloodshed less than an hour after his party proclaimed his re-election in a vote described as fraudulent by the putschists. Given his state of health, the former president of the Republic, Ali Bongo Ondimba, has freedom of movement. He can travel abroad if he wishes to carry out his medical checks, Colonel Ulrich Manfombi said, reading a press release signed by Oligui, took his oath as a transitional president on Monday. Bongo suffered a serious stroke in October 2018, which left him physically impaired, with particular difficulty moving his right leg and arm. Reporting for Primetime News, Diana Kauta.
Stay tuned for the business segment as we bring you an insightful exclusive interview. Welcome to the Primetime Biz segment, your dedicated source for the latest business updates. Tonight's Primetime Biz segment delves into the topic of national food self-sufficiency. Now, the Namibia Agronomic Board is responsible for promoting Namibia's agronomic industry and facilitating the production, processing, storage, and marketing of controlled agricultural products in Namibia. By extension of its mandate, the board plays a pivotal role in ensuring Namibia's food self-sufficiency. Earlier on, I sat down for a tete-a-tete with Dr. Fidelis Mwazi, the CEO of the Namibia Agronomic Board, who shared insights into some of the strategies the board is employing in capacitating local farmers to increase their yields, as well as the board's endeavors towards realizing Namibia's food self-sufficiency. We now bring you a portion of that interview.
We would like to achieve at least 60% of the market share, primary market share promotion. And what it entails is that we want to be at least be consuming 60% of what we are producing in terms of fruits and vegetables locally. For us to do that, we need to have intervention programs in place, and that will be part of this crop value chain strategy to assist us now to identify these different types of fruits that we need to start producing, because especially on the fruits part, we are consuming only 3% of what we are producing local. The remaining 97% is import. That's why we need to have kind of a strategy. How are we going to reduce that to facilitate the production of citrus, to facilitate the production of different mangoes, different products like avocados and so on. So this in itself, it's a very long-term aspect that we are driving. So in terms of the grains part, we are looking also to say, how do we become self-sufficient in terms of white maize, in terms of peel millet, which is the mahangu, or the wheat. I think we have programs that are also part of that within the crop value chain strategy that we are busy developing.
Switching to the business of aviation, Menses Aviation has maintained that it was not evicted but was forced out of the Hosea Kutako International Airport by the Deputy Sheriff and the Namibian Police Force. The British Ground Handling Services Company was evicted from Hosea Kutako International Airport on the 19th of August.
It stressed that until the High Court application challenging the said eviction is finalized, it will not hand over any cargo to the lawful consignees. The company, however, will hand over the blood transfusion service of Namibia's critical life-saving equipment on Wednesday. This was after a mediation process held on Monday involving the Namibia Airports Company and Paragon Investments Holdings. It went on to say that Paragon and the Namibia Airports Company did not execute any court order to evict Menses, and that it instead prevented the court order, which they claim they rely on, from being executed. In fact, the truth is that they acted in contempt of the very order they seek to rely on, it said. Meanwhile, Paragon Managing Director Lazarus Jacobs said Menses' statement is a misrepresentation of what transpired in the meeting.
For tomorrow's projected countrywide weather outlook, let's now turn our attention to the weather forecast. Welcome to Sport Planet, our storyboard encompassing sport in action. The segment kickstarts with para-athletics. Namibian athletes who excelled at the 2022 Commonwealth Games, 2023 Special Olympic Summer Games and the World Para-Athletics Championships, as well as the African Beach Games, were rewarded for their hard work on Wednesday. The Namibian Sports Commission, under the Ministry of Sport, Youth and National Service, availed more than $1 million Namibian to reward athletes who performed exceptionally well in international competitions. Now, during a media conference in the capital, Namibia Sports Commission Chief Administrator Freddie Muir stated that the implementation of the reward policy is to motivate athletes to work harder towards achieving their goals. On to some rugby. Namibia's head coach Alistair Coetzee earlier today selected an experienced lineup for the Velveetjes Rugby World Cup opener against Italy in St. Etienne this weekend. The South African-born gaffer selected 8 players who played against Italy at the last World Cup in Japan 4 years ago. Former Bayonne hooker Thorsten van Jaarsveld is in the starting lineup alongside props Aronis Coetzee and Des City. Lok Shiwe Uanibi also starts while Casper Vivier is on the replacements bench. Stand by for your sports roundup. We've come to the end of tonight's broadcast, and as always, many thanks for tuning in. A Friday primetime news date beckons tomorrow, so make sure not to miss it. Otherwise, from myself, Michael Madimba, and my dedicated production crew behind the scenes, that's good night.